Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel Shilpa Data Insights.
In this video, we are going to talk about autoloader. Autoloader is used to incrementally and efficiently process the new data files that comes in the cloud storage space. So, what do you mean by an incremental data? Incremental data means the data that is arriving on a frequent basis. The frequency could be a daily or less than daily. It could be hourly. It could be monthly, or it could also be in a minute, or it could be a near real time streaming data. So, how will you exactly handle this incremental data? There is a lot of challenge that is there while handling the incremental data. So the first approach and the easiest approach to handle incremental data is to process all the data at one time. It is similar to a batch processing. All the files are processed at a certain point of time. The second way is to basically create an ELT or an ETL pipeline to store the last process file, and as soon as the new file arrives, it checks what was the last process files, and then it will process only the new file and not the last one. So here exactly we need a lookup table where exactly the metadata is stored of the last process files. So in this case, what happens is there is an overhead in maintaining the pipeline. So the next thing that we have is the structured streaming. Structured streaming is very efficient. It reads the whole data and it is almost in the near real time. But all of them have some drawback. In processing one-time load of data, basically all the files are read and it is almost like a batch processing. This is efficient only when the data is not so frequent. Let's say it is once daily. So you can go ahead and trigger the pipeline once daily and you know when exactly it's coming. In the second approach, basically, you have to go ahead and maintain that extra step of the last process files. So it could be an overhead in the maintaining of your pipeline as well. The next step that we have is the structure streaming. Again, it is going to read the whole file. So therefore, it is also not sufficient. So therefore, Databricks have come up with this new approach of autoloader where exactly the incremental data can be processed very easily and very efficiently. So how exactly it works? So once the file has arrived, then their metadata is actually persisted in a database called RocksDB in a key value pair. So that key value pair, as the metadata is already stored, so it will not go ahead and process the same file again. It is only going to process the new file. So this will actually ensure that the data which is not processed will only be processed. And therefore, it has the capability of exactly one's approach. So the next thing is there are two ways how exactly the autoloader can decide whether the file has been processed or not. The first method is using the directory listing mode. In the directory listing mode, it actually goes ahead with the complete input directory and identifies the new file. The benefit of this directory listing mode is you don't require any kind of permission or configuration other than the data on the cloud storage. You should only be able to read or access the data on the cloud storage. Apart from that, you don't require any permission. I'll tell you why I'm saying this. The second method is a file notification method. The file notification method, in that autoloader automatically sets up a notification service. There are multiple notification services that each cloud service provider provides. And along with the notification service, there is a queue service that subscribes to the file event from the input directory. So along with these two services, it identifies which particular file has been processed and which has not been processed. So in case of notification service of Azure, let's say there's an event grid. So they go ahead and use the capability of Event Grid with the Azure Queue Storage to detect the file. Similarly, in AWS, you have AWS SNS and SQS. Once the file has been detected, then you can move that file's metadata to the RocksDB, and from there, only the new files are getting transferred or saved to your Delta Lake. So file notification method is actually more performant when you have a very high volume of files that's coming into your cloud storage space. And the second thing that you have here, you need some permissions and authentications for these cloud service providers and cloud services like your AWS SNS and SQS. But in directory listing mode, you don't require any additional permissions or settings. You just need to have the access of your cloud storage. Now, let's come with the syntax and the options that we have. I will show this in the practical as well. So don't worry, this is just the presentation that I'm showing right now so that you understand what is the syntax of it. So in the syntax, you go ahead and give what is the format of the file. So the format of the file when you have an autoloader is cloud files. If you are seeing this cloud files, you come to know that using this cloud files itself, the autoloader is actually going ahead and reading your data. Then you can mention what is your cloud file formats. The cloud file formats could be different. It could be JSON, it could be an Avro, it could be CSV, it could be text file. Whatever cloud file formats it provides with the autoloader, you can mention that. Now it comes with the schema location. You have to provide a path of the schema location. Why exactly that's needed? It's needed because if the autoloader needs to go ahead and infer the schema, then it needs a location to save that metadata. And if in case the schema changes, it can go back to that metadata and check whether the schema is changing or not and how to handle it. Then it is going to decide. Then it is going to provide you the load path of your input directory where exactly the files are getting loaded. Once the read stream has been completed, it's going to write the data into a particular table. So for that, you can use the option called merge schema true. Let's say there's a schema evaluation. Some new columns have been added. So in that case, you need to go ahead and merge the schema. So for that, you can mention merge schema. Now, you also need a checkpoint location where exactly the metadata is stored, what all files have been processed. And you have to provide the path or the target location and the table name where you exactly want to save it. So this was all about the introduction, how exactly the incremental data load takes place with the autoloader. So now let's go ahead with the practicals for it. So I have a notebook created called autoloader. In this, I have a subscription dataset that I have put into my input file. And in this input file, I will be reading that input file using the autoloader and saving the output in my output stream in the output path. So as we discussed, there is a format called spark.read.format. And when we are mentioning the cloud files, it is using the capability of the autoloader. And the file format that I have saved is a CSV file. So I'm mentioning it as a CSV. Now, it needs to go ahead and create a schema location where exactly the schema will be saved. And I'll show you how the schema actually also looks like once it is saved in this particular location, once we run the particular commands. And in this particular input file, I will be reading this input file itself inside this input stream. And then I will be writing it using the merge schema with the help of my checkpoint location and the path. I will be saving the data in this particular output path. And I will be saving the table also called Shilpa.autoloader. So let me rerun this input file and output path and then run this particular command. Once it has run, you will be able to see the data into the autoloader table. So it has started inferring the data of the schema of one file that is present in this location. And once it's complete, I will show you how exactly the data looks like. And also I will show you how the schema location looks like. So it has started the streaming initialization. Now you can see it is actually processing the data and the batch duration of it. So let me go ahead and do a run on the select star from the autoloader table. So this is my autoloader table. This is my data that I had. So it is the first name is this, last name is this, product ID, subscription ID, and my subscription date is there with my rescue data. So this was not there in my data set. From where exactly it came? Whenever you are inferring the schema with the help of autoloader, it will just go ahead and create a new column called rescue data. So you need to clean up this rescue data column when you are going from raw to silver to gold. In the silver layer itself, you can go ahead and do the transformation to remove this column if you don't need. This is a very important column. I will explain you in the later commands what exactly this does. Now, let's say I have not defined here the schema, right? I have allowed it to actually go ahead and get the schema automatically by the autoloader, which it has given me. Now, I want to go ahead and predefine this particular schema. In this, I have 4 columns, okay? 5 columns, sorry. So, I want to only define 4 of them. I will not define the last column here to show you another way exactly what does this rescue data does. So let me go ahead and run this particular command. Now we have an option called schema evaluation mode. In the schema evaluation mode, what happens is it goes ahead and checks the schema, and there are different methods how the schema can be evolved. Either it can add the new columns, or it can go ahead and create a rescue data, or it can fail the new columns. So in this, I am showing you how exactly it will terminate and it will not execute because the schema is not matching. Okay, so let me first go ahead and remove the output that we have so that I can clean it up, and let me rerun this particular thing. So this is my data frame that I created. Now I will be displaying this. So if I display this, then you will see it will show you an error message stating that it is not able to read the data properly because of a schema mismatch. So if you will see here, the subscription date is not matching. So if you do fail on new columns, means it will fail if in case some new column or new data in that is detected. Okay. So if in case you don't want that, don't put this fail on new columns. You can just mention the add new columns and you can continue. Or if in case the schema is not matching, the second way is the rescued data. Means you can put the rescue option here and rename the column called rescue data. And in this case, what it will happen is it will not stop the process. It will continue the process, but it will give you a way in which you can decide what exactly schema is not matching, why exactly it is failing, what data type is not matching. So these things you can go ahead and do it with the help of this rescued data column. So I've executed this particular thing, and you see all the 4 columns are there, but the rescue data is having a data here. It means subscription date is not matching with this file path. So you need to actually fix it before actually you can load this up. So I will just interrupt this because it's a streaming pipeline. Now there's another way called schema hint. So in the schema hint, you can also mention what schema you want. So this is my actual code in which I'm not mentioning any kind of schema. Okay, and I'm reading the data frame. So if I'm reading the data frame, you will see the subscription date is string. Let's say I want the subscription date to be a date time. So for the subscription to be date time, then you can go ahead and mention in the schema hints, basically, what is your data type of the particular column. Let's say you have all the columns and you are quite sure that subscription date should be a date type, and the rest let the autoloader decide what schema needs to be done, right? So in that case, you can mention the schema hints and the subscription date as the date. So I'll rerun this and I will show you here the subscription date is your date data type. Now, this is all about how you can manage your schema evolution when you are using your autoloader to load your data and write it to your stream and the table. Now you want to see, let's say, what is the schema it has created. So now I have this particular link. I have gone through this link. How this link is there is your complete HTTPS link. You have to put your files and whatever is the path of your file that you want to go ahead and load it and save it to your local hard drive, you have to put that file path. Okay, I'll make a separate video on this. So I'll put it in the link in the description box as well so that you know how exactly to create this one. It will be a short video. So once I have downloaded this, I'll show you the metadata it looks like is this. It says version 1. Means there's only version 1 that I've created for this particular metadata. It says it's a JSON type in which we have some fields called first name. What is the data type of first name? It's string. Then we have the metadata is nullable here and nullable is true. Then we have the last name, which is the basically again string. And if you will see the subscription date is again string and the metadata, right? So this is what is your particular metadata of your schema that it looks like. So now you understand what is an autoloader. It's a very efficient way basically to load your incremental data into your target table and analyze if in case there is any schema evolution or schema mismatch that comes into place. And you can gracefully exit out of it using the rescue data and don't stop your pipeline. Otherwise, you had the traditional way of doing the things, which used to be costly operation, but this is an easy operation to do it. You can use this in the DLT operations as well. So I hope you have learned exactly how to use autoloader. So please go ahead and subscribe to my channel, share it with your friends and like this video so that it can go ahead with a better reach. And I will come up with the next video of the Databricks. So stay tuned.
Thank you so much for watching, and I wish you have a good day.